Welcome back to Dying Out Loud, a podcast where no words are left unsaid and we say things in the moment. Today, my guest is Dr. Rebecca Lee, a friend and coworker that has really just become a true example of what a creative partnership and friendship can look like in the workplace. From an early training session where I was the student and Rebecca was the facilitator, to a first of its kind group coaching cohort that the two of us built together for a team in our company. This episode will share how values, mutual coaching, and generous knowledge sharing shape meaningful work for involved. Rebecca, welcome.
Thank you so much.
This
That
is
was so nice.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been excited to have this conversation with you for a while. So just prepare yourself to have a great conversation. And I'm going to ask you some questions and we'll just go from there. So
Can't wait.
I'm going to start off with a little bit more about you. What drew you to that role at Gale?
The training piece came a little bit different from the coaching piece. So when I joined Gale, it was just Kevin and I. And I think designing training helped me get my feet wet in terms of Gale's a new place. I've designed trainings in the past. When I was in grad school, I designed some trainings for students, my fellow grad students, but also undergrad students. Gale's a different place, as all places are, right? You join a new organization, let me get the lay of the land. What's the voice? And it was a really good way for me to get feedback from Kevin and other folks that I worked with to understand, it can be a little more casual, and really think about what does the audience need to hear? What will resonate best with them? I'm not the main character of a facilitation, right? I might be saying the words, but really it's for the audience. It's for everyone who's participating. And so I kind of just fell into it. We had some trainings that needed to be developed, and I put my hand up for it. And so it was really great for that reason. Simultaneously, I was getting involved with coaching, and I for sure had imposter syndrome. Kevin was quite far along. I hadn't coached significantly. I made Kevin, our manager, let me sit in on many of his coaching sessions. And he's like, I think you're ready. And I was like, no, one more. One more. Let me ask you questions, prep more. And he's like, you're already doing it. And he was so supportive. And so I started coaching people. And as with coaching, the more you do it, the more comfortable you feel, the better you are at listening, active listening, the more you can connect the dots and hear things out of what people are saying that is underneath the surface or connects with previous conversations, and you're better able to ask good questions. I took a coaching course that you've taken as well, and Kevin had recommended to me, and it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, okay, I think I really needed this, and I needed to be able to be in this practice. It's all come together where I feel we always talk about experience and exposure, and it's so true. I'm like, okay, now I finally feel like I've got, will we ever have enough? Probably not, but I have some under my belt where I'm like, okay, I don't feel like a fraud.
It's so funny that you mention imposter syndrome and feeling like a fraud because you had started, and I think you had a full year under your belt working with Kevin and delivering trainings and beginning your own coaching journey. And a year later, I was joining the team. That obviously wasn't my first role in our organization, but I was new to the team, new to coaching in a specific coaching role. I had always coached through all of the years of my career, but our experiences were very largely the same. Yours a year ahead of mine, but then mine started. And so much of the things that you're talking about that you were able to get from Kevin, you in turn gave each of those things back to me as someone who was new to our specific and our discipline within our organization. And I think about those early times when I was just embarking on my official role as a coach. I definitely had moments where I was feeling like an imposter. I want to make sure that they get the same kind of coaching with me that they get with Rebecca and with Kevin. It's really interesting to hear how parallel our experiences were, but they were a year apart. And I think about whenever I was starting and I was first starting to do some instructional design, and you and I collaborated on several projects. And I think we both agree that whenever it comes to collaboration, we have quite a well-oiled machine between the two of us. We know how the other thinks, and we're able to figure out what makes the most sense. And we have a really great ability to blend two different ideologies sometimes and bring them together to make one really impactful training session. Or, as we did with our global delivery folks, we created a program that we built from the ground up just for those folks. I'd love to know, when you think about your best collaboration type of an environment, what behaviors do you think about in those moments, and what are you looking for in a great collaborator?
I love this question. I like to have fun at work. And I can be very serious when I am really heads down on something or something really matters to me. And at the same time, I do really value fun where I can blend that in a meeting or a brainstorm session. That's when you get the most creativity because people are just getting the ball rolling. We're just saying stuff, we're saying our ideas. And I think maybe it's the imposter syndrome, maybe it's just the way that I view work. I always think my idea is not going to be the best one. And maybe it won't be if you have a group of 6 people, maybe it won't be I took a piece from every single person or someone took a piece from every single person. But the idea is, what is everyone's idea? How does this try to ladder up into our overall goal? Can we do something that blends at least some of what we're talking about and everyone feels heard and everyone gets what the outcome is? We all are in agreement that makes sense for what we're trying to achieve. And to the extent that you can have fun doing that or feel excited or engaged in that, that's the best. And so similarly, what I hope for in a collaborator is someone who also wants to have fun in the chat, has good ideas, or at least wants to share them. I used to do this thing, and I think I still probably do it now, but I did a lot when I was in grad school, which was, I'm thinking of an idea, I don't have it well formed yet, and I would always hedge what I wanted to say. I don't know if anyone's ever thought that, but that was always my fear.
Likely not.
It helped me get my ideas out. And I love this idea of people saying their piece, say what you would like to see or an idea you have in your head, whether you think it's silly or not. And at least now it's on the table.
I love all of that, especially the fun part. And maybe we'll shift into something that is a little bit more fun. When you think about interactions that our team has had over the last, well, it's been 2 years, I think now, since we've really all been on the team together almost. When you think about the fun that we've had, are there any particular things that stand out that the 4 of us have gone through, or even the larger group of 6 of us have gone through, or perhaps you and I one-on-one? Is there anything in particular that stands out as a great example of how we've created that fun?
About a year ago, I remember having a conversation with Kevin. He's like, how are you doing? And I probably wasn't very convincing in telling him that I felt fine and I was all good. As per usual, he dug. And I just told him, I was like, I just feel weird. I'm feeling disconnected from the team. I think at the time, we were all very heads down in our own projects. And of course we overlap. Of course we talk to each other. But it wasn't as we're working on the same projects together, and I didn't feel as connected to you, and I didn't feel as connected to Tristan and Ashley and even Kevin. And I was like, it negatively impacted me. So to my point of how I like to work, I was like, oh, I'm not seeing my friends and close collaborators. Immediately my mood tanked and I was sad, essentially. I talked to Kevin about it and he said, well, what do you think? What do you think would help? And I was like, I think I just want to know what's going on. I know what Kris is working on, but I don't know what Kris is working on. I hope that translates
Totally does.
into the podcast. Like, I know, but I don't know. I know, but I want to know more. Born out of that is our meetings called Clown Cars, which I named because I love that idea of, not that we're clowns, but it's funny.
And we can be clowny too. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely fitting.
Yes. Hilariously, I'm also afraid of clowns. So this is just like, it's a very funny name. But I love this idea of minds smushing in a room together and hashing it out and showing our work, showing it in its ugly state. And everyone knows this is my ugly creation. Let's all build it together and let me get these thoughts, because I'm using ugly loosely, but it could be it's ugly because it's only got my idea. It's ugly because maybe it's just not finessed yet. It's ugly because it's missing something and I can't see it. And so I love the idea of bringing that together to have everyone just be like, we're here to see what someone is working on, know it's in an early-ish state, and get to contribute. Everyone gets to then be involved in a project that might have started as a singular person's activity. And so now they're aware of what's going on, but also they get to contribute.
Love that. Makes me think back to times where we've connected for our weekly touch base, and unconsciously we both start having a quick check-in discussion and a how are you doing, how's work, what's going on this week, to a real challenge that one of us might be experiencing, and we immediately step into that mode. And it's something that at this point probably happens so unconsciously, sometimes we don't even realize we're coaching each other until we get to the end of the meeting and we're like, oh, hey, guess what? We solved a problem or two, or removed a roadblock for one of the two of us. And I always leave those meetings feeling like not only was it a great check-in, but hey, we also accomplished a couple of things that we didn't even set out to accomplish. But it really just drives home the value of those connections. You mentioned that there has been at least one time where you felt a little disconnected from everybody else on the team. And obviously, being the only person on our team that is in a remote/satellite office, I absolutely feel that disconnect on a pretty regular basis. And as someone who thrives on human connection, it can be pretty debilitating, quite honestly, to me to have that disconnect. And that's why I engage so much in a Teams chat, or whether it's a crazy Friday message or a random update about some completely meaningless part of life. Just the point of sharing it and knowing that it's going to be heard and acknowledged is so refreshing. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we've all done a really nice job of building, is that silent support and appreciation of each other, that it doesn't matter if we do have that weekly check-in or if we miss one or two of them, or heck, there was a time when we missed 3 months of them because it had fallen off our calendars. Yeah. And then we were like, we really need to get this thing going again because I need these moments we spend together. Yeah. It's interesting how things like that become not only necessary to survival, really the ability to thrive at work, also just the ability to feel complete and whole. Obviously, we survive when someone's on vacation, but if we're all working in the office and we're in those moments where everybody's working their neck deep in a project that they're responsible for delivering, it does get quiet, and we obviously just need to do our best to ring the bell every once in a while and say, hey, come up from the work, take a deep breath, and let's laugh just for a few minutes together to reset the mood and the energy.
That's so funny. I just realized this. I don't think I realized this when it was happening. I think my body or emotions know that I'm lacking the connection before my brain does. So you and I talked about this when we realized that our one-on-ones had fallen off the calendar. And I think my body knew it before my brain. I'm famously forgetful. I don't think I had remembered that they had fallen off the calendar, but my body knew that I feel less connected in that example I gave, but also in our weekly one-on-ones. I was like, why don't I know what I don't feel what's going
Right.
on here? I don't feel right. And then you and I talked, and I think our first one-on-one after that gap, both of us were saying the same thing, being like, oh my gosh,
I
we
can't
missed
believe we
this.
happened.
We miss this so much. What the heck? It's funny because fun piece is part of my Hogan assessment, but I really do think that there's a part of me that craves that connection. One of the things that I think I told this to Kevin when you and Tristan joined, but then later when Ashley joined, we're all in very different places. And I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel like, and I know you're not even in the same country as me, but I love having our one on ones. I prioritize them. I prioritize my one on ones with other people on our team and our broader people team as well. I might not collaborate with you on projects, but I want to feel close to you. One of the most secretly important parts of my week and my ability to function. You know this just as well as I know. Our one-on-ones, I come to you and I'm like, problem, help, something's going on. And we talk about it and I'm like, oh, I had fun. It was safe, productive. It's so many things all rolled into a 30-minute call.
I feel the exact same way. And, that just having that connection, and even if I don't know everything that is going on in your world, just having the awareness of that you're out there. And if we need to connect, we can make that happen whenever. And also, if there is something that either of us is struggling with or need an opinion on, it's so easy to make that happen. It's an invaluable part of work. And quite honestly, I think about the reality of not being able to work at some point in time will truly be the part that I miss about work the most, is the connection that I have been able to form with the folks that I get lucky enough to work with, like yourself. And leads us right into this next part of the podcast, where every episode I share a letter that I had previously written to you during my times at those days where I used to spend 8 hours in the chemo chair. I had a lot of time to write. So I had ended up with this journal full of letters that I wrote to people who have been impactful to my life. And whenever Anthony and I were looking at this list of tear-stained letters and all of these beautiful messages, maybe we should just record them with the people so that they have a recording of your voice and hearing this message, and it's something that they can have for. And then it became this podcast idea, and let's put it out in the world and not only peel back the curtains on these very intimate, private, raw, emotional conversations, and let's share them with people, because we've shared so many lessons as we've gone through just the first 20 or so minutes of our conversation. If people are paying attention to what you've said or what I've said, we've dropped some really great nuggets of life lessons in there. And I think as I was listening to the first recordings of this back, that's something I realized pretty quickly, is there are some amazing lessons here that if I would have known much earlier in life, I think I would have been at this place much sooner than sitting here at almost 52. And you, my friend, are far ahead of me. I'm happy that you were able to come on here and receive the message that I am now going to share with you. Rebecca, from the very first session that I watched you lead, I knew I was seeing something special. It was clarity wrapped in care, expertise delivered with confidence and ease that I now know you weren't always 100% sure you even possessed because of that darn imposter syndrome. Almost a year later, whenever I landed on the OD team and I got to learn beside you for real, that first year that we worked together, our first full calendar year, we were able to stitch together project after project. I can't think of how many training sessions we put together. We built out a coaching cohort that surrounded the team that we were delivering it to in great content, amazing learning, and really imperative discussions to helping that team get to the next level. And through all of those projects and time together, I saw what a generous collaborator looks like, how you create space for conversation, for ideas. You have an ability to elevate a room and still keep people anchored to the outcomes that matter. In the short time, I feel like our team has not only grown, but together we've all built something. We've really leaned into not only feedback and just the sharing of that freely, but we've also learned into growth, and we've leaned into the courage that it requires to give and receive feedback openly and honestly, and to have a continuous desire to be learning and growing. Watching you model curiosity, the steady presence that a coach requires, and just the right that you provided to my thoughts and the questions that you asked, that really changed how I work and who I really grew into as an OD practitioner and ultimately as a leader. Outside all of those one-on-one sessions and training sessions and collaboration sessions, you've shared so much knowledge to me. Oftentimes, I don't even think you realized how much knowledge you were sharing with me. We've coached each other through tough calls, through pressure points, and through pivots. You listened whenever I needed it. You pushed me when it mattered, and you helped celebrate the wins, the big ones and the small ones. You've been a great teacher, a great teammate, and an even better friend. And I sincerely thank you for trusting me as a partner and collaborator, for sharing your craft and your knowledge so openly with me, and for standing shoulder to shoulder with me on the days when work asked a little bit more of us, or whenever we were in the midst of a coaching sprint and still managing projects. I learn from you genuinely every time we get together, and I am truly grateful and appreciative for all of it, and ultimately for you. And just want you to know that our friendship and this relationship is extremely important to me. And on the days when it's a little bit tougher to get out of bed, or just show up with that smile on my face, that reminded of the relationship that we've been able to establish, and the great work that we get to do for the awesome people that we get to do it for. And it really helps ground me and bring me back into the moment, and really just helps me focus on giving the most of myself in the moment that I have, which is obviously this one right now. So truly thank you for that.
Thanks, Kris. I am. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. I was thinking about how I didn't even talk about one of my favorite things about our relationship, which is how we collaborate with each other. And we talk about this all the time. We bring it up in other meetings. I bring it up in our training sessions all the time about how our feedback sessions are just conversations. We don't even know that we're giving feedback to each other. And it's been one of the most healing things. I used to be petrified of feedback. And in working with you, and I think a big part of this is because of the safe place you've created and just who you are as a person for all sorts of people. You're
I
so
really
open to
appreciate that.
it. I mean, anyone who's met you or, listened to you for like 5 minutes, like it's just the warmest, most inviting
That's
community feel. Let me call back to one of your earlier questions of the environment. You exude that all the time, and we just have conversations like, what do you think? Oh, I was thinking this. Oh yeah, I love that. What do you think about this? What if we did this? I'm sure if someone were listening and they'd be like, wow, what is happening here? It's just two people.
called magic.
For you and me, we're like, oh, this is great. For someone else, they'd be like, what is this dog pile of ideas?
True.
Maybe it's a little chaotic, but I also think it's just quintessentially you and me. That it's
Yeah.
fun, it's engaging, it's us spitballing off of each other, and we are usually so excited and happy by the end of it. But there's a function for it. It's really taught me about that fun piece, about what collaboration and work can feel like when you really do feel safe and you really do enjoy the work with the other person, or enjoy whatever it is that you're doing with the other person.
Thank you for sharing that. We are just about out of time for today, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to share with anybody that's listening what your thoughts might be in a nutshell regarding just being open to a collaborative relationship, a friendship at work. Love to hear your thoughts that anybody can grab and take away with them as they go.
Just be curious, for better or for worse. I never assume that I know everything. And I love to see what other people bring to the table. I love to be other people's cheerleaders. I love to know what I can go to someone else for. You're a complete master at interpersonal relationships, relationship building, among many other things. It's one of the things that I come to you for, again, among many other things. Have a mental Rolodex of people that I know who are experts in these things. And I love to know that about other people too. And so when I have the opportunity to work with a new collaborator, I love to be able to, and maybe this is my coaching hat being put on, what are their thoughts? What are they bringing? And so I think just be curious, be open to the opportunity to get to know somebody else. It's just exciting to get to witness people be great at what they are great at.
Love that. That's a great note to end on. And that was my friend, Dr. Rebecca Lee, who is an expert in all things IO Psych, and I've learned so much from her. And if I were to give my final thought for today, open yourself up in the most curious way whenever you're given the gift of an opportunity to collaborate with someone. Collaboration is a practice, care for another person, of clarity and of courage, and it repeats itself over and over again. And if you're lucky, that collaborative relationship can also become a friendship. I'm of the mindset that you can't have enough good people in your court. And I'm so thankful that you are one of the folks in my court, Rebecca. I really appreciate you joining me today. And folks, as always, if something in our conversation today moved you, that probably means you have some unfinished business of your own. And this is me inviting you to pick up that phone and send that person a text message, give them a FaceTime call, do something and start the conversation that you need to have. We're only given this moment, and your time starts right now. We'll see you next time, and I look forward to it. Have a great day.